Hey everybody, welcome back to the Capes Cast podcast. I'm Jeremy.
And I'm right.
I feel like I was literally about to just forget my name for a second. I was like
Yeah.
awful. Anyway, there wasn't like a whole lot of news I could really find. Whatever. Diamond is still going through some ish with bankruptcy and somebody wanting to buy him and yada 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 yada. Whatever, dude. At this point, at this point, it's like it's just a dead horse. It's fine.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Every publisher needs to just move on. Let Diamond kind of just fade away.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We can move into a new era without them. It's fine.
Yeah. It's starting to get
Um,
annoying to even hear about now. It's like, all right.
yeah. Well, like literally, like at this point, I'm just like, what else could possibly be? Like, what could it be now? Like, just hurry up and just close up shop so we can move on.
Yeah. I get it.
Um, but there are quite a few books that came out
A lot
last
of books
week.
came out. A lot of books came out.
Last week that were absolutely pun not intended. Well, I guess yes, pun intended. Absolutely fire.
Yeah. We got some really good
Yeah, we did, dude. It's really good.
books. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, where do you even want to start?
let's start with Superman.
Oh, yeah, man.
Superman was dope, dude.
It was.
I liked Superman. I like that it was kind of like everybody that's kind of been on with Joshua Williamson throughout the series started.
Yeah.
Like I
I'm
wasn't,
I'm starting to really like Eddie Barrow's art. Like I'm starting
dude.
to like
Eddie Barrows is so good, dude. Like when because he did Speed Metal,
right. He did. Hmm.
and that's like still like probably the best Flash issue in like the last, yeah, I don't know, like 15 years, dude.
It was one of the only great issues for Dark Knight's Metal.
It
Like that.
was such a banger, bro. Like, I almost want to just read it again.
It's great. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's really good. But yeah, so it's like Jamal Campbell, Dan Moore, obviously, Eddie Barrows, and then somebody else, I thought, Ferreira.
I think Sanchez is the colors.
Yeah, Eva Ferreira. And colors are Alejandro Sanchez and Jamal Campbell.
Yeah. Well, Jamal Campbell does his own stuff, so
Yeah, so like it kind of opens up with like the what we kind of assume was going to be the case from the jump.
this is pretty cool too. This I like that Joshua Williamson books
Yeah,
do a lot. You know,
yeah,
have a double sell.
yeah, those are really nice. And it's kind of like the plan that Lex had made up with Mercy when he was like, "I'm gonna let Superman beat me up and take me to jail, and I'm gonna manipulate him from behind the scenes," which we kind of knew was the case already to begin with.
Right.
But it was like it was one of those things where it's like even though we knew that it was probably going to happen, it felt like it was almost always like it kind of felt like maybe it wasn't gonna happen. You know what I
It,
mean?
it's funny. Like I feel like Joshua Williamson is like very stuck in like this like the certain era of Superman because it's kind of felt like that whole era where like Lex Luthor was pretending to be his own son for like a mad long time and he got with like you know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
things like that where it's just like Lex would do that. So,
Mhm.
like it makes sense.
Yeah, and we find out later on that he was kind of like pretending
Yeah.
with like losing his memories with Brainiac, which kind of okay,
I believe.
whatever.
I
Yeah,
believe.
like whatever. Like he can pretend for a while, and maybe he got used to this like change where it was like I don't have to be a hateful scumbag
I do
forever.
like him being with Mercy though. I hope they
It's cool,
continue.
man. I don't mind it. I
Yeah,
wish
I hope they
except Mercy's kind of like crazy.
well now because she doesn't feel like the other Lex is fully in. So
Right,
she's
but she's also like he was like trying to schmooze her up, dude. And he's like, I'm nice. I know we could be great. And she's like, no, you're not evil enough.
right. It's
And
like yeah.
it's like chill out, dude. Like it's like give him a break.
Yeah, it's like she
You're
finally
kind of
got Lex, but he's not like the evil Lex. So she's
yeah,
like,
like my homie's over here like on the
yeah,
piano. Like that like he's got the fingers, man. Like let him just let him be cool. Like for change.
yeah. This was cool. I mean, I like the whole, Lex wearing like the Death of Superman outfit. You know
The
what I
X
mean? Like,
XL or whatever it is.
yeah,
I was like,
XL. Like,
get out of here, dude.
I mean, it only makes sense that Lex would make a Kryptonian version of himself. And,
Yes.
you know,
I like how like, it's all of his memories up to a point,
yeah.
and then he kind of flashes back to Lex and Mercy, kind of like I said, they were like kind of getting all cuddly, and
Hmm.
then he and Superman are fighting, and then that's right, Marilyn Moonlight showed back up again. That
Yeah,
was
it was cool to see her. I haven't seen her in a
she was
minute.
ready to smoke Lex's ass like quick,
Yeah.
but then he's
She's
like,
like
I'll
the
make a deal.
spirit of Metropolis. So she
Yeah,
like,
and he's like, let's make a deal. Like, it's cool.
yeah,
And then so of course it's to come and bring him to fight the evil Lex.
right.
And then this was a cool reveal. I like the fact that he was a Bizarro.
Yeah.
But that was cool.
That is really cool because it makes sense, right? Because like
Yeah.
it was just like it's I feel like Lex has made Bizarro versions of other Bizarros before.
Right. And wasn't the Bizarro that which Bizarro recently was his? I don't remember. There's like 1,000 of them at this
Yeah,
point in
there's
the
so
movie.
many.
Because he even mentions like, oh, it's like the Bizarro that I made. Like, and I'm
Right.
assuming that was recently, like maybe in the run previously,
Yeah.
maybe in an action
I
story.
probably. I because I think Jason Aaron's action with that Bizarro, I think it's that one.
Was that one a Lex made Bizarro?
Yeah. That's not like the real Bizarro. It's like
Okay, well then yeah, there you go. We can pick up for that one then. Okay.
Mhm,
I forgot about that one, to be honest. Well,
mhm.
I mean, no, I shouldn't have forgotten about that one because there's that whole bus scene
Yeah.
with the kids and it's hella funny, dude. Yeah.
And technically
Okay.
he's still in Superman's brain somewhere, so
Dude, that means at any point Superman could just straight up kill a bus full of kids.
yep.
Imagine the inner turmoil.
Yeah. But
You
how
heard it
do you
here.
feel about like Lois like hulking out basically? Like,
Yeah, it was cool, but
yeah,
also like her powers are gone, dude.
yeah.
Which kind of sucks. Like, is it like did she burn them out?
Did it
And like
like all
they
just
went
leave her body and like
Yeah, did she burn it out and then it went back to Zod? Like, or did I don't know.
yeah,
The mystery continues.
right.
But kind of crazy on the last, I mean, 6 issues. I was expecting it to maybe go away sooner, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's cool. We had it for an arc.
Yeah, no, 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 definitely. And it's
Yeah,
kind of fitting, like, and it was kind of fitting because you get this like temporary evil Super Lex,
yeah,
and you get this temporary good Super Lois,
yeah,
and you get like kind of an interesting take on their relationship. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. I
yeah,
thought the idea of them both being super in a way, like for a temp, like for a brief period of time, was cool. I
yeah.
don't know.
And I mean, basically, Lex kills the
Yeah,
XL
because he almost goes like full Bizarro.
pretty much. Yeah. And of course, Superman's pissed about it because it's a living being, and even though it's a Bizarro, it's
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing: is that the dialogue here between Superman and Lex,
yeah,
when he tells him like, "You're not the man of tomorrow," I am basically saying like, I'm always going to be able to do the things that you won't do because I'm willing to cross that line.
right,
And it's got I read it and I'm like, is he wrong?
right. I mean, yes,
I mean,
but
in the way that he handled it, yes.
right,
But like even like just I'll read it right now. XL would have killed me, my daughter, you, your wife, and every single person in Metropolis. He was broken and he was never going to stop. You might be the man of steel, but you're not the man of tomorrow. I am. And I was like, you got a point, man.
yeah,
But you didn't have to like blast his dome off.
Right. But you know, Superman will let like crises happen before he kills has to kill somebody. You
I
know what I
know,
mean?
like,
Like,
and we love him for it, brother, but it's like,
yeah.
maybe is it so bad if a villain kills another villain?
Death
Or-
is always bad in DC for Superman and Batman. Death is just always bad.
I know.
You know, but it's very iffy. There's like some stories where Batman's like, "Oh, I could turn the other cheek," and other parts where he's like, "No, I have to save you from death." Period. Or
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I get it. I do. Which is like sometimes like not to like steer off, but also like with Marvel and the way that some characters are pretty like willy-nilly about it. Like killing, I'm like, hey, let's I kind of rock with it, maybe
yeah,
a little bit
yeah, Marvel, a lot of characters are more, you know, Wolverine, like all of them, and
all
Punisher.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're Cap. Cap doesn't give a fuck. He'll kill. It's war. It's war, baby. It's you know,
Dude, like Hell Hunters is like some stuff, man. Like
dude.
I'm
It's awesome. It's
great. Like
awesome.
not to like totally like shift gears, but like
But yeah, it
that's
that
that's
ended this week.
that's right. Yeah, it's the last issue.
Hmm.
Dang. I hope maybe it returns at some point.
He keeps talking about it like this is the first installment.
I was gonna say I thought I saw a post something about saying like the first book of Hell Hunters. I was like, what are you
Yeah,
trying to say, dude? Like,
yeah.
but also okay,
I'm in it for the ride. It's fun. It's fun.
okay. Before we jump into the next book, I guess we'll do the a Marvel book next. But that was pretty much it for Superman, mostly.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
Lois. I mean, we get this beautiful image of Lois of at that like end page. I just love Mora's.
like he's so expressive, yeah,
Yeah, like oh, it's just
yeah, that's
beautiful,
great.
beautiful stuff.
And I
But
feel bad,
Mora,
dude.
it's Mora.
It's a goat, dude.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like with I forgot what the hell I was saying. I was something about Marvel, but then I got distracted with Dan Moore's art because it's just,
yeah. Well, I mean,
man.
I imagine we're probably gonna do One World Under Doom, right?
Yes, that's exactly where I was gonna go with that.
Right.
Yes, since I'm talking about Marvel book, let's do Marvel Under Doom.
Yeah.
Um,
Which this is still like really funny and sad how it like reflects reality to a T. Yeah.
so yeah, so like, okay, first off, I just love how it opens up with just like all this banter between Tony and Modok and Otto,
Yeah.
and they're all like, he's like, yeah, you guys are the last ones here, but like, I'm gonna lay down the ground rules just so you guys know. And then Modoc's like, well, if I wanted to kill you, I'd already be dead. Like they're just like totally like just trying to like give him smoke.
Right.
And Tony's like just not having any of it. He's like, listen, you have to behave, basically.
Right.
And then everybody else is in there. And like just from the jump, there's just already tension because Arcade is starting shit with Thor.
Which
And
is on brand. It's on brand.
and Tony's like in the middle. He's like, hey man, listen. He's like, let's get along, all right?
Yeah.
He's like, if you don't, he's like, I'll smoke it myself.
Right.
And then you've got like everybody kind of deciding what the plan is. And so they decide just to attack Doom. It's like ultimately their game plan.
Yeah. They even say like we're gonna go beat him up. Then I'm like,
Yeah, like, and it's like, come on, man. Like,
the thing is that's funny is like the Avengers are like doing everything wrong in like this series. It's like,
well, right, because this is kind of like how they've approached every other situation. Because in times past, it's worked because it's been an extraterrestrial threat, or it's been a magical threat,
but they
or
should know that
a
Doom is
technological.
planning this, and Doom is probably planning on them doing all this. So
Right.
there's gonna be
And think about like the social aspect to it all too is if the Avengers take down Doom and things go back to the way that they were, the people that have benefited from Doom's rule now no longer benefit from it.
right,
So you're taking away the healthcare and, you know, the financial stability, the safety, all of these things that Doom is providing to them. You're taking that away from them now.
right.
Do you really, like, by defeating him, do you really think that those people that are that are benefiting from it are going to want that.
Exactly.
So if they just go in and beat his ass, which how they do every other situation,
Right.
because in most cases the world is ending. In this case, the world is not ending. The world is actually doing well.
Right.
So like it's kind of for them it's like a PR loss. It's a loss on like on a global scale because everybody loses that is getting
Everyone.
like a bump up from this. So Doom's kind of got them like kind of like pigeonholed, you know what I mean? But it's cool because then they're like all teleported and try to bust open his port, you know, his shield.
Mhm.
And then of course he comes in with the T-Rex, man. Always, dude. Like that's it's been like every issue, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Except like he says, like in this, he says, I'm mind controlling my doppelganger. So
Yeah,
it's not
he's
like,
like I have a complete domination of his mind. I was like,
yeah,
damn, dude. Because in the last time we saw him, like when
they
you
they
see his
didn't get
eyes,
along at all. They got
right?
into it.
You see his eyes glowing green though, too, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, bro, like chill out. Like he's just a dinosaur.
It's still awesome though. It's still like,
It's tight,
yeah.
yeah.
I love that Ryan North was like, I love that I did that, and I'm just gonna keep bringing him back. I love,
Yeah, dude. It's tight.
yeah,
I mean, because it's cool, bro. Like,
it
come
is.
on. It's
It is.
cool.
It is.
So then, you know, you've got while the fight's going on, it's really just a distraction. So Wanda, Mordo, and Madeline Pryor can all go into the world leaders' minds and like take a dive and see if they're being mind controlled or if they're Doom bots or what the situation is that's making everybody like so compliant with everything that Doom is doing. But then Wanda's like, shit. She's like, oh yeah, it's worse than we thought. They all have agreed to this. And he's given them everything that they've wanted to agree to it.
And how's it gonna look now that you are going through these people's
Yes.
minds right
Yes.
now? And
Yes.
yeah,
Right. So they're all like, we lose basically because we chose this. Everybody chose this.
yeah,
Like all of the world's leaders chose to do this.
yeah. Doom didn't take anything. This is like all happening by people's free will. So like, what is he
Yeah.
doing wrong?
And then yeah, so like and he tries like and then he says like, oh, there's a situation at the raft saying like about all these villains are about to break out. Like we need to go. And they're
Right.
like, oh, like it's a ploy, like you're the one that set it off. And he's like, no, he's like, you don't like be like, okay, fine. And then he teleports them all anyway. And then they're forced to work together with him and fight them. But then like it's all over the news that it was kind of like it almost didn't work because they were so late and they
Right.
held up Doom. Like it was very like Doom propaganda. Like because the Avengers were slow and they held up Doom and all these things, it would have been done sooner. It wouldn't have been so like cut close. And it's like, damn, dude, like they really are just like working the Avengers right now.
Yeah. Yeah. They're Fox News and her. It's Fox News and them.
Yeah. And then okay, so we knew this was coming if you've been paying attention to solicitations
Yes.
here at the end. Um, so it's so funny because Doom is like speaking and he says like, you know, at first he's like kind of like giving them a little bit of grief. And then he's like, I'm just gonna thank them for their service to the world and to Doom for working with me. And then Dormammu um shows up here at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for this.
I think it's fun. I think it's fun. It's like, why wouldn't Dormammu be like, oh, source, he's Sorcerer Supreme. He
I'm
doesn't
very excited
know.
for this because they make it a point and they made it a point a lot over the last several years. I mean, I'm sure it's probably doing forever in Doctor Strange's, you know, history. But like there are certain things that the Sorcerer Supreme has to do every year, spells he has to upkeep, beings he has to fend off, and these are situations that he has to do on a daily basis. And the reason that Strange was so good at it is because he was so methodical. You know, he's a doctor, like, and there's
Right.
kind of all of these other elements that made him a really good fit for Sorcerer Supreme, which is why he won the, you know, the tournament initially,
Right.
and Doom was the runner-up. So, but Dormammu and Doom had a little bit of a mix-up in Ewing's Guardians in Last Annihilation. And Dormammu's been kind of aware of Doom for a little, obviously, for a while. And because he's a, very adept magic user.
Right.
So, but yeah, so they've been kind of like, they've butt heads recently. So it's like, it's fitting that he comes back because now he's like kind of like a round two with Doom.
Mm.
And he's also kind of he's laughing at Doom because Doom is Doom is kind of arrogant with it. He says he's like, "Oh, I've gotten all taken care of. I've taken care of everything. Like all of these safeguards are in place for Earth." Not actually realizing that there are other responsibilities other than just what he thought it was.
Right. Yeah.
And
It's it's really cool. I think it works on two fronts because it's like, hey, Dormammu and Doom, they've been having it out, but it's also like the Sorcerer Supreme versus Dormammu thing. And it's like
yeah, that too.
pretty cool to just go ahead and put them both together and just have at it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's fun. Dormammu's coming like basically like, oh, Strange doesn't have it. Like I can. Here's my shot. Here's my chance.
Well, like, and here's the other thing, like having just talked about the fact that the Avengers were trying to stop this world-ending threat of doom, not realizing that the world chose it. There is an actual world-ending threat that's right at their doorstep.
Right.
And is Doom is Doom prepared to handle it? No, because he's probably gonna have to work with the Avengers because they've fended off Dormammu before. And he knows that he couldn't do it alone in Last Annihilation, so he needs help now. So, but how does he spin it? Because is the fight gonna last 6 issues?
I doubt it.
Or is it gonna be they defeat Dormammu in two or three or 4 issues? And there's several issues where Doom tries to spin it as like he's the mastermind behind the victory, and then they end up defeating him anyway.
Right.
We'll see.
I don't know. There's a lot of ways that Ryan North can take this, so that's why I'm just excited. I'm on the ride. Like it's a
Right,
lot.
because here's the other thing too is in Ewing's Guardians, Doom talked about how if Earth were unified, it could step on the galactic stage and it could take a place on the council. And if Doom is the ruler of Earth, it's fitting that he would be the one to take the place on the council.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, if Dormammu is taken out pretty quick, do we have Doom trying to make that ascension for Earth? And
Probably. He's been talking about it.
right, there's a lot of ways it could go. I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm really good.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
hyped, dude.
yeah, this event's just going to keep going throughout the whole summer. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and I'm happy about
Yes,
that. I'm
sir.
having fun. I'm having fun with it. All right, what should we
Um,
talk about now?
want to hit up Martian Manhunter?
Yeah, Martian Manhunter, dude. This was
Absolute Martian Manhunter.
more Javier Rodriguez brilliance. Just-
It is crazy.
It's insane.
It's just like a drug trip, dude.
It is. It's like the worst trip ever. Like,
It's cool. I like it, but it's like kind of a trip to
if you
look at.
wouldn't have told me any different, I would think this is a Grant Morrison book. But you know what I mean? Like, this is,
Yeah, that's nuts. Hey, man, Dennis Camp is rocking it.
yeah, dude.
Right. So it opens up with this like page where this guy is covered in blood. It looks like he maybe killed his parents,
Hmm.
and he is looking at a picture of a white Martian.
Yes.
So, I mean, and we kind of got, they kind of they kind of alluded to him in the first issue, but then you have like John Jones. He's got a cigarette, and then out of the smoke comes the Martian.
Yeah.
And so they're like communicating back and forth now pretty regularly. So like we don't, is it in his mind? Is it not real? Is he really possessed? Or are they co-inhabiting the body? What's the deal, Or is he
Right.
really a Martian? He's remembering things like I think you had said, right?
Hmm. That's what I thought. Like maybe he
Right.
just like, buried him deep and now he's like coming out. Like
Maybe that's still the case because it's still kind of very like we don't know.
right.
Um, so he's beginning to like open up Martian vision a little bit as the issue goes on, and he's like now he's starting to see the thoughts of people,
Right.
which in the last issue we talked about how he was kind of like breathing it in, and it was all of these different like smoke colors of smoke and these like
Mhm.
lines of smoke, and it looks like now that's what it is. It was like their thoughts.
Yeah.
I do like how it's kind of like progressing as like the story goes on, where it's kind of revealed to us more as time goes on. Like in the first issue, just like him, we didn't see that this is their thoughts.
Right.
But in the second issue, as he continues to do it, we now see
Yeah.
that these lines of smoke are what their thoughts are.
It's like their thoughts. It's because it also shows over here that like it's going onto his brain and it says like taste of serotonin, oxytocin chemicals
Yeah,
humans haven't discovered yet, flooding my brain. So it's like it's basically I think it's like it's pretty much I think just experience. Like it's
yeah,
like you're like the smoke is like somebody's experience. He's like basically able to be in their experience of smelling, of tasting, of
yeah.
so that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Like that's like, like
An interesting take on his abilities.
yeah, yeah.
I like that. That's tight. Yeah. Um,
It's like pure empathy almost. So it's like that's gonna be pretty cool to see
a
how he
good way
has
to
to.
put it. Yeah. I guess to like, yeah, balance that with kind of with the job that he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And how is that going to affect him? Or like what is this transition with the Martian going to look like? And how is that going to affect him?
right. It's
You know?
really cool. It's cool. It's giving me like also like iZombie vibes because he's gonna be using his powers for his job, and I'm like, this is really cool.
Yeah, that's tight. And then it jumps in pretty quickly with this white Martian guy.
Yeah.
'Cause he starts just blasting because they get the tip off that somebody's coming up there. I think it's the Martian kind of tips him off, right?
Mhm.
He says like, "Hey, like he's about to be here. We need to stop him."
Right.
And then it's kind of I like how the Martian is like so casual about all this, just like kind of like kicking his feet back in the seat in the
Yeah.
car as
Yeah.
they try and find him. And then he like jumps into his mind, which I
Yeah.
thought was really cool.
It is like he could just like yeah. So it's like it still makes you wonder, is it like just the Martian that's part of John doing that, or is John himself doing that now?
Yeah, and then the other thing too is like he also like is probing his mind to see if he can use anything to kind of like help him de-escalate the situation. And so he grabs onto a childhood friend and he's like, "Oh, like I'm him."
Hmm.
And it seems to like work for a moment, and then he ends up getting blasted by a police officer.
Hmm.
Because while all this is happening, he just keeps probing and probing and looking, and he sees this like black mass within his mind. And then he sees that it's the White Martian,
Right.
you know. And the last couple of pages here is like perfect, dude. They're so
Dude,
cool.
I that is
That
crazy.
transition at the end is just so cool.
Yeah, it is. It's like
Where he's
what?
like, yeah, he's like he like gets into bed. He's like, "How's work? Good." He's like the usual, and then it's just him in the white background with them at the pillows, and then the next panel is their whole bedroom, but it's him as the Martian. I was like, "Oh, I'm like that's cool."
Yeah, because it makes you wonder, like, is that them saying like it's really him, but it's also like John's dealing with stuff, and now like it makes me wonder if like the Green Martian knows the White Martian that's inside of this person's brain personally, potentially.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
that's, like I don't know. Like I feel like they could have a history if like the Green Martian isn't part of John. Like they could have a history.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool because now we got like
What I
a
think maybe would be interesting too is if the white and green Martians have like different abilities,
oh, I'm sure, yeah.
whereas like maybe the white Martian can possess people, but this if you let's go with your theory and say that it maybe really John really is the Martian and only white Martians can like possess people in that way.
Right.
I don't know, like obviously there's like crackpot theories, but like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. It
Oh,
would be
it's fun.
interesting to like it would why set up like another Martian so early and not have them like would make them basically the same thing.
Right. And I mean, they're already like, like Martian Manhunter's biggest enemies are his white Martians from home. So it's like we're already doing it. So
Right.
I love it. I loving a lot of times I get frustrated with books where I'm completely lost for multiple issues, but I think that's the point of this. You're supposed to be as lost as John is, and it's a lot of fun. It's
Yeah, it's tight. I really enjoy it. The art is just spectacular too. Like
Yeah.
I can't just stop looking at it.
Yeah. Javier Rodriguez doing like the work of his career. It's like just incredible.
Yes, he is, dude. The only thing that rivals it, I think, in my opinion, is the stuff he did for Defenders. I mean,
Yeah.
Zatanna was pretty fabs. Never.
Yeah.
I would say my three favorite things by him would be, yeah, this so far, Zatanna, Bring Down the House,
Mm.
and whatever the hell I just said. Oh, Defenders. Both
Yeah.
Defenders and Defenders Beyond.
Right.
Yeah, good, good ass stuff.
All right. I'm about to do it. We're going in. We're going to go into hate territory real quick because you are going to hate this as much as I do, my friend. You are. You're going to hate this too. I swear, it's like Jeff Loeb. I just don't think Jeff Loeb has read a Batman comic since he did the first Hush. Because that's
Do
how
any
this
of
is
them
written.
read their books? Well,
This is
of
how
course
this
not, dude. Too busy doing other stuff.
basically like because if you remember like in Hush, Hush happened before Jason Todd came back from the dead because Clayface was
Mhm.
pretending to be Jason Todd.
Yeah.
So now this is taking place in the present, and Jeff Loeb is writing this like Hush has just happened and it's the only thing that happened. Yeah, it's super
Oh,
like so basically Batman takes Joker because remember Joker got his all of his arteries are sliced up by Hush.
right.
So he calls Leslie Tompkins.
Dude, is it the Riddler as Hush?
Wait, we will
Shut
get
the shut up.
no. I'm going to go into a whole thing about that. But wait,
Is it him? Is he Hush?
no,
Oh, thank God, bro.
no. But he's in this.
Of course he is.
Yes. And of course, it's basically he's part of this because he was part of the last Hush story. So yeah, so it's like picking up from that. And basically, like Batman takes Joker over to Leslie Tompkins. Leslie basically says it's a big job for her. Batman just says, just go ahead and do it. Batman ends up falling asleep. Leslie ends up saving Joker, and more or less, like, she's like, but he ain't staying here. So if you have
Mhm.
nowhere else to take him, you know where you have to take him. So Bruce takes him back to the Batcave.
Why, bro?
Okay, so check it out. So Bruce takes him back to the Batcave. And then out of nowhere, a gun goes to the back of Batman's head.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Jason Todd does not like that Batman is saving Joker's life. You see, Red Hood is pissed.
So he kills Batman?
No. So Batman and him have like basically they get into it. Batman basically
Oh,
takes
it bounces off of his cowl.
it. No, he basically has the gun to the back of his head and he's talking to
Oh,
him. And
sorry.
then
I thought he said
basically,
fired a gun to the back of his head.
no,
I was
no,
like, are you, what the hell, dude? Like, what?
no. So then basically Batman takes the gun away from Jason and shoots Jason in the face.
Do what? Crack his mask off his face so it
Yes,
looks cool?
to make sure he's not Clayface from the first Hush.
Okay, so hold on. Hold on. You're telling me he fired a gun,
Yes,
which Batman doesn't do, right?
right,
I mean, it doesn't matter how you feel about it in main continuity, he doesn't use guns.
right.
But he was so quick to turn a gun on his son,
Second son, yeah,
who already has died at the
correct.
hands of the Joker, and he didn't shoot at Batman.
No.
And
So
all probably just so Jim Lee could draw a really cool panel that was probably maybe this big of Jason's face of his mask cracked. Please show me the page.
it is so basically this is Batman shoots him, but we get
Is it
this
the-
double page splash. Hold on. We get this double page splash. This is what Jim Lee wanted to do.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
So, and check this out. Look at this.
Why, okay, why is it the old Red Hood helmet?
Batman's wearing his Hush outfit too. So it's like I guess they just in modern continuity just took off all their clothes to get into the Hush things for this arc. Anyways, dude, there's so much. Anyways, basically, Batman says Jason, and he said, and then he says, "You had to make sure, Bruce. I know all about how Clayface impersonated me, games you played with Tommy Elliott, like tonight." So we're supposed to think that this whole time, since Jason Todd came back, he's been in cahoots with Tommy Elliott,
Yes.
and they've not once talked about this. Meanwhile, we just got like, you know, the Gotham War thing where Jason was like, "Hey." Like I'm protecting Bruce. Like that's my dad. I love him and blah blah blah. Like we're past this. And then now we're right back to Red Hood just being like, "You're saving Joker. How
You're
could
asking for
you do
too
that?"
much, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, Jeff Loeb still thinks that Red Hood is all about you save Joker. How dare you? You save Joker.
Have you ever thought that maybe modern Batman is gonna go the way of modern Amazing Spider-Man?
And and I feel like we've gotten this revelation thing that goes on here. Basically Red Hood says, "In your heart, you believe it was," or Batman says, "In your heart, you believe it was me who got you killed. I know it's the truth, Jason, because I feel the same way. You were my partner, my Robin. You were so young. I never should have put you in harm's way. If I did, then it was my job to protect you, mine and mine alone." And
Is this after he shot him in the face?
yes,
So he shoots him in the face and then tries to talk no jutsu his ass.
yes.
Get out of town, bro.
And then after this, he basically like, "Bruce, how could you save the Joker's life?" and knocks him out with the butt of his gun.
Why is it like the soap opera Batman?
Dude, it's what is Jeff Loeb doing? Okay, so in
Please,
what issue is
please,
this?
please, please. Can Barbara come in and just cause a love triangle between her and
Oh,
Dick
good
and
Lord.
Jason? Please, brother.
Okay, so this is Batman 159 that we're on right here. Batman 155. We have Riddler. He's in this arc. He was in the last final arc of Chip Zdarsky's run.
Asking for too much, dude.
This is what he looked like.
Kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Long hair,
Now you want to
squatting
see what
hard.
Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee had to do.
Does he look like the
Basically,
movie?
basically, Barbara and Dick are basically talking about Tommy Elliott, what they're gonna do to help Bruce, blah blah blah, and then
When they're gonna meet up with Jason and have a fun little time.
Jason basically Dick turns around basically and he sees somebody there and it's Riddler and he says, "You're gonna need all the help you can get, Dick. You and Babs, even Bruce." And look at we have a buff Punisher-esque Riddler.
Why does he look like he's trying to be Lex Luthor in the armor?
I don't
Like,
know.
like that question mark looks like garbage, bro.
This was 4 issues ago.
I know, but man, listen, you're asking for a lot here to maintain continuity.
And he has a question mark tattoo across his eye that goes like this.
Shut up, dude. Shut up.
I swear to God, it's terrible.
What is
And
he, Mike Tyson?
basically, this ends with Batman getting knocked out by Jason.
Hey,
Batman
Batman.
waking up
This
and
okay,
seeing
listen,
that
is he gonna take Batman in the ring and bite his ear off?
uh, it would be better than this. But anyways, basically Batman gets up and he says, "I am alone. My car is gone." He said he was going to finish what he came here to do. It was not to kill the Joker. Jason is working with Hush.
Oh no.
This is crap.
You
This
know
is
what?
like
You know what gets me?
this is crap. Like
Is they're so convinced it will sell. And you know what? They're right.
it
It
is. It
will
is
sell
selling.
because they released giant size foil editions of that book, dude, for
Yes.
$20.
Yes.
It is crazy to me.
This is terrible. I knew right when this cover got released that this was gonna be terrible. I knew, oh, you're going right back to Jason.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's just bad. This is Jim Lee's worst work. Like if you look at this cover like in depth, it's bad. Like the line work is really bad. It's like it's bad. It looks like that Jim Lee.
Hey man,
It looks like he made this comic in like
if we
a
ever
night.
interview Jim Lee, you're gonna have to just explain yourself.
It looks like he made this whole book in a night. It's rushed. It's just
Hey man, it's Ramita effect. Ramita Junior effect.
hey, I mean, but these are like, $30,000 panels in here, so you know.
Hey man, he just gives himself a bonus at the end of the year.
Anyways, Batman Hattush Hush 2. It is crap. I do not plan on hate bombing this every month. But if it keeps being as egregious as this issue was, I probably will. And I'm only watching this. I'm only continuing to read this to just see how bad this train wreck can get because it's already terrible, and we're only 2 issues in, and
How
he's
many?
doing
Six?
all 12 issues, just like he did the original Hush. So
There's 12, bro.
yes,
You're lying to me.
it's 12 issues.
It's a year long.
It's a year long. It
You're
is terrible.
you're there's no way.
Yeah, because once this ends, that's when Batman's restarting.
I
Like
thought Fractions was starting in like July.
fractions?
Or am I tripping?
Maybe they'll start that volume early, but this is going on for 12 issues. Maybe it'll end this volume, but because this is issue 159.
Bro, they're desperate.
Yeah. And
They're
Jeff
gonna
Loeb's done a terrible job over with the Long Halloween, Last Halloween also. So I don't know
hold
what
on,
the hell.
hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm curious here.
Yeah, because that would mess up the whole legacy numbering.
Oh, to be dated.
Mm,
Cover date, according to League of Comic Geeks, for the new Batman #1, says November 2025. So, is it coming out every 2 weeks or is it once a month right now?
I believe it's a once a month.
Let me see.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because it was a month ago when I hate bombed the other first issue.
Yeah,
Was
this
only
one's
2 weeks ago.
mm-hmm. Oh shoot. All right.
Yep. We got a
Someone
year
remember
for 2 weeks.
this. Dude, this is not gonna be fun.
No.
Well, guess what? I'm not reading it, so guess what? I'll be not worried about it.
Yeah. Well, we got two more books, man. Where do you want to go next?
Let's do Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Absolute Wonder Woman.
Dude, this these two issues are the best thing in
Hey, dude.
absolute universe. Like the best.
They were so good, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love this artist. Uh,
Nicolas DeLuise is great.
yeah.
Um, it opens up with Diana chasing like this dog, but it's
Mhm.
also kind of like a freaky, freaky dog. I don't really know what to call it.
A
It's kind of
hellhound.
like
I don't know.
suction. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she stumbles upon Persephone. She's right out the
Yeah.
jump. So I thought it was cool to see the god, like another god, like right out, like right away.
Yeah.
Really cool design for
It is.
Persephone too.
Shout out to Hayden Sherman. He designed her. So
Yeah, good. It's really cool stuff, dude.
mm,
Um, and then she kind of like makes this deal slash like promise with Diana when she's young about like tending into this tree and like I don't know. We kind of see that kind of repaid, I guess, later on in the issue
mhm.
because then we go back to fast forward to now and she's fighting with the. It's funny because I look at this panel where she's getting like choked out by the Chimera and it
Mm.
kind of looks like Dan Mora.
It does.
I was like, hold on.
Yeah. It does with like the certain colors and like the shading. I was like, oh yeah. I
It
could
was
definitely
just,
see.
it was just that like one. It was just
Mhm.
the two of them fighting right there,
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
and then Diana kind of like gets the upper hand on him,
Mhm.
and then we're in a flashback, and Cersei's like really concerned about probably Diana's safety. It seems like with like wanting to get her away out of hell.
Right.
And so she asks Hecate if she can, she like basically like begging for her to listen. And so she shows her kind of like more cryptic way on how to like lead her to it. And then it's just kind of like a back and forth between her reading the story and then her fighting the Chimera and Persephone and Hades like interacting, just kind of like shooting the shit back and forth.
Mhm.
And then, she finally, and I was like, you jump back and forth. It's kind of the story itself is about the lady and the tiger, where, um, the princess was in love with uh, a young man, but he wasn't like rich or anything, I think is what it is, right?
Mhm.
And so he's sent to the arena to fight, and then he earns his freedom, and it's he can choose the princess or the tiger, or not the princess, but like it's a girl who loves him,
Right.
and he
Love
has
her
to
life.
marry her.
Yeah.
And it's not the princess. So the princess is sad about it.
Yeah, and I like it too, like throughout this whole thing, like this how like the whole issue, basically, like Diana just doesn't get the fact that this like story ends the way that it does.
Right, because like I'm like going through it again.
Mhm.
And she kind of like she tricks him in order to alluded to the fact that she influenced his decision and we don't know which door he chose at the end of it.
Right.
And Dinah's like, what are you talking about? Like she doesn't understand that it's kind of like it's open-ended that way because one, you can interpret however you want, but also two, it's the implication of she sent him to his death, because she didn't want him to be with someone else. So it was kind of like a parable slash kind of like a story of morality there, I guess,
Yeah.
but also gave her a way to. It kind of seemed like it tied into the narrative with like kind of wisening her up and allowing her a way to escape, as well as tying it back into stuff with Persephone and the promise she made, because she ends up beating the Chimera back in the present time.
Mhm. Dude,
And
yeah.
she's trying not to kill the Chimera because she doesn't want to.
Right.
But Hades is like forces her to, and then she's pissed. And she prays to two of the goddesses, it looks like. Oh, Themis and Hecate to like, and she gets this like Kaioken like power boost.
Mhm.
It's sick, dude.
Yeah. It's awesome. And I mean, just her even talking to Hades the way she is, she's just like, Hades, you are no god, no lord. You are a warden of a prison and nothing more. And it's like, yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, yeah, Zeus basically just made him a warden of a
He
prison.
didn't, yeah, didn't want nothing to do with you, so he said, take care of the dead.
Yeah.
And Hades is too proud, so he's over here like, you're gonna regret this. Like, you have
And I
made,
love that
you have taken,
Persephone's like on Diana's side too. Like she's, like she's
yeah.
on Hades' side.
Well, right, because she's a prisoner there too.
Mhm.
She's stuck in hell. But yeah, it was. I think the design is really cool
Yeah.
for all the gods so far.
And basically, we find out that the reason Diana is able to outsmart Hades is because she had a pomegranate seed. And it's basically like, hey, you want to change the rule about pomegranate seeds just because I'm here? Or no?
Hmm.
Okay, then I'm bound to come
Right,
get
which is she
you.
because in the beginning because of the tree that she's tending to.
Right.
Gotcha.
So it's like, hey, you can't get rid of me now. Like, and I'm gonna be coming back once like a month out of a year. So you're not getting rid of me that quick, buddy.
Exactly.
Which is
So
awesome.
yeah, it was really cool. I liked a lot of the backstory part of it.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
it was.
mean, because the most of the modern, just most of the now as portions of it are just the fight
Mhm.
and like kind of like the commentary from the two of them. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's really the fight. I mean, the fight looks really incredible, but also it's like really propped up by the backstory and then like the story that Cersei tells Diana.
yeah. 10 out of 10. These two issues are the best thing that the Absolute Universe has done so far, and I can't wait to get more Absolute Wonder Woman because this is going to be a stellar run. This is going to be an incredible run. It's going to be talked about. I
It,
have a feeling this is going to be like a new defining, like, this is going to be like a Wonder Woman that latches on,
oh,
like,
for sure.
I have a feeling it's going to be like an updated Wonder Woman where like people are like, I prefer this Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Yeah. Like it's already happening. So, and we're only 7 issues in, dude. So it's already iconic.
All right.
Our fantasy, dude. Fill me in on what you thought about all this, dude. Because let me tell you, when I got to that final page, bro, I was like, oh, fuck. That final page made me go, oh, oh.
Yeah, dude, it was a wild
Yeah,
like page turner, the final page.
yeah.
So it opens up with like we're finally getting like Eliza Hellbound's backstory,
Hmm.
and she's one of the six superpowers. So like as of right now, she's just it, as of this up until this issue, we've kind of understood her as the like opposite of Valentina. Valentina is like the angel. She's like the devil of the six superpowers,
Hmm.
and she draws her powers from from hell. Um, so she like challenges, her professor and it's pretty loudmouthed about it.
Yeah.
And then it jumps to current day where we picking up from the last issue where she invites Valentina inside of the church where she kind of made like the play, like the sacrifice play.
Hmm.
And she's like going in for confession. And I think it's interesting that she's letting Valentina like kind of be present for that
Yeah.
because Valentina is to her and to like the world and especially in like the opposite aspect, she's an angel, to Eliza's demon. But then you've got like then we realized that like Eliza was married, at one point, and she got lured into a pyramid, which it kind of seems like a lot of these characters have really, really tight, like interwoven backstories with each other.
Hmm.
And maybe not all six of them at the same time, but at like one point or another, like they've crossed paths and they've had like big entanglements with one another
Right.
as far as like life-changing events or something that they do affects another one of them and whether they meet or not. Um, so like this is another issue. Like it really just relies on basically like one just paying attention and reading the book, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah.
Because there's sometimes it kind of feels like there's a lot of dialogue, but the way that it reads, it feels pretty quick. Like it just kind of feels like natural,
It does.
organic dialogue. But as she's explaining her history, like her backstory to Valentina, it's like we're seeing it, play out on the page and it's jumping back and forth between the present day and then. And so she talks about her time like joining the pyramid and then kind of rising in the ranks. And then she's like talking like in present day, she's telling her like, oh, like my pride was my biggest sin because I thought I could keep doing this and do this and do this. And I'm trying not to spoil a lot of the actual dialogue because I think it's really good and I would
It
like
is.
people to just read it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so it talks about how like her relationship with her husband begins to deteriorate and because he got promoted and at this point she hadn't yet. And then we fast forward to 18 summer, second summer of love, 1989, when
Hmm.
the queen was on Earth. And at this point, she's like digging a hole. Like they say, digging a hole to hell, but eventually she's just, like basically she's saying like that the queen is trying to collapse reality and is trying to destroy everything.
Right.
Um, so then uh they have like one last kiss, they share some like nice words, but then he teleports away and he gets I'm assuming he gets smoked. You know, kind of
Pretty
that's
much.
what it seems like. But then she goes in and makes like so the entire story so far, they've been talking about how like the pyramid can do magic and can kind of summon these things and can do open up like can kind of have these like otherworldly abilities. But we don't see really the extent of kind of some of that magic or some of those rituals until I think right now. Because she even attempts something that like I think was kind of like in theory.
Right.
It was
That's
something that hadn't been done.
yeah, that's what she says. She says,
Yeah.
the theory was Jackie's, but the
Hmm.
ritual was my own.
Right. So she like he had a theory that there was some other worldly power out there that you could tap into, but he didn't know how, I guess, to do it, whereas she was the one to come up with the, I guess, the gateway or the, you know what I mean, to do it.
Mhm.
Like kind of he theorized it was out there. She was just the one to do it,
Right.
which not maybe the best idea.
Right. Because she basically had to turn her back on her faith in God to do it.
Right, which yeah, that's like the whole point is like her whole character up to this point is like she was very like she's very faith-based and that she had all these beliefs and she turned her back on her creator to get this power from hell, but it was like because she wanted to save the world. So she kind of feels like it's like an unforgivable sin, that she has to like forever bear this shame.
Mhm.
And then she just takes on the queen. And then at that point, Europe was gone, she said,
Mhm.
which we learned, I think, at the end of issue 3 when Valentina's standing over Earth or like floating over Earth.
Yep.
And then, yeah, we just keep seeing like flashbacks, and then we see a little bit of an altercation between Etienne and Jackie, who's the head of the pyramid, and then Valentina's like kind of breaking up the fight. And
Yeah,
then he's like pissed because he realizes what she did, because he realized that she made this kind of like unreversible, like mm, I think he thinks it's a mistake. You know what I mean? Because now she's trapped, she's burning with all this, where and he probably never really intended it to go this far. So because there's that scene I think in issue four, maybe it is issue three, I don't remember, but where he's sitting like on like just like the rocks, like right by the ocean, I think, and it's like part of the rubble and the destruction of Europe. But he's like sitting there, and then I think Eliza approaches him, and he's like, "I'm sad
yeah,
because like all these people die." But I think it is kind of I think implies that maybe he's sad. He's sad because of why. Not just he's sad because so many people are dead, but he's sad because somebody that he was like he thought he was close to had to make such a big sacrifice.
right.
And the inner character work here is just so damn good, dude.
It's insane.
I love it. And then she's like hella spicy, man, here at the end. When it jumps back, she's like Valentina's like trying to like get her to move on and like kind of like, from it. And it's funny because she kind of has this like, I don't want to say like a pity me complex, Eliza, you know what I mean? But she kind of has this like, she kind of made like this hurt and this guilt her like personality, which I guess if you're trying to be like this evil demon character, it's fitting, but also
Yeah,
it's like you are still, I guess, human. But also we don't know how human you are because what really is going on?
right.
Like what's the secret behind that? Because I think we're also going to have the pyramid going to hell in the next issue or two. So maybe we'll learn more about the dimension and what's going on there.
Yeah.
Um, but it's and then this like little bit of dialogue. She's like, Magus has gotten worse. What could he do now? You're the infernal power. You can neuter him relatively safely. All I need is you to be ready if needed. Enough. I consult my conscience. Do you think you can order me just because you're an angel? Are you like Gabriel, messenger from God? She said, it's not like that. I just have a mission. I don't remember heaven, and your big guy doesn't speak to me. This is like fire, dude. And she's like, be envious, an angel. I'm closer to your God than you. I was like, damn, dude, why'd you have to do that to
Yeah. But
her?
even then, she's just like, well, pass along my hellos. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
And this was the part that got me like, oh,
Yes, dude, because I don't, is this, I'm, it's two things. Is this the first time he's doing it, or has he been doing it for
yes.
a long time?
Right. It makes you wonder if that's the God she's been talking to this whole time.
Right. And also, Valentina is there.
Hmm.
And here's the craziest part, dude, is
Because
that
even Valentina says, your big guy doesn't speak to me. Like,
right. But here's what's crazy, man, is like from the first issue, she's propped up as this like benevolent being that you're supposed to believe that she's like this all good, all precious, like angel. That she's doing good for the sake of good and is not manipulating people and is just trying to help people. But her working with Etienne the way that she does, it stains her character.
mhm.
So she's not as good as she kind of presents that she
I
is.
think that's the whole point. Like, what is
Right. And
good and what is evil? Like,
right.
and
And
when
I'm
the
really
lines are so
interested, right.
blurred.
I'm really interested to see like one, how their powers are going to scale with each other as the series goes on. And two, what kind of like are we going to have some kind of like heel or face turns between some of these people where they kind of realize that maybe they've made some mistakes or they're like kind of unhinged.
Well, I think like Etienne kind of sees it as like this is a duty I have to do for the ethical and for the safety of everything because if she finds out that like God might not exist,
Yeah.
it would probably break her. It'll break.
Well, I mean, yes and maybe no, because then at the same time, then she does have to go with the battle that her faith was kind of for nothing, but then she can realize that maybe the sacrifice isn't such a big betrayal.
Right, but then what does that mean for Etienne?
I mean, you want my honest opinion? I think since probably I would say probably by the end, maybe by the end of the first issue, by the second issue, it's obvious that he's a hypocrite.
Oh, of course.
He is in no way, shape, or form living by this. Oh, this is the most ethical thing to do. No, dude, like this is the most ethical thing for you to do. Like to like this is your all like person like for if you're talking about your personal ethics, yes, this is the best possible scenario for you
Right.
because you're the hero. You're kind of playing everybody to the way that you need to. You are saving the most lives, but it's this like facade of like it's okay. I think here's a good way to describe it, where it's like you're almost like you're a rich dude and you donate a really, really big, large sum of money to a charity, but you do it anonymously, and then you go around to all your rich friends and you say, "Damn, dudes, look what I just did."
Mhm.
Like you're still telling, you're still having you still have your little posse, and you're kind of showing your true colors to them, but you are doing good things
Right.
because it's I like the little character flaws there with some of these with them.
But it makes you go, what's the motive of you doing it then? Are you doing it because you're a good person or because you want everybody to just think you're a good person?
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
Yep. That's great. I'm loving that
It's the
series.
struggle with like it's a the moral thing. It's the morals thing too.
Yeah.
It's all firing on all cylinders, man.
Yeah, it's these are some of the most complex characters, and we're only like what 8 issues in
Yes,
now.
sir, dude.
It's like,
I
dude,
really hope this goes on for another. You mean like 30 issues total, bro?
yeah,
I'm good. That's fine with me.
fire stuff. But yeah, that about covers it, guys.
Yep, I think that's it for us. But
Yep.
thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Mm.
So peace out.
Later on, guys. Stay safe out there.
Later, dude.